Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Black Friday 2022 is here and the deals have started early. We have a ton of deals in today's video for you: CPUs, GPUs, RAM, storage, complete gaming PCs, and more. Links in the video description below. They are new. They are single links that take you to up to 6 stores, including regional redirects. I'll explain more about that in just a second. There are more than 30 deals in this video. Timestamps will be in the video description below and along the timeline in YouTube, so if you just want to scroll to some specific deals, you can certainly do so. But for those of you who want to join me for the entire video, please grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into it. Buy Windows 10 Professional for $15, activate instantly online with Microsoft, and keep it forever. Don't pay full price. Get the best deal from our sponsor, URCD Keys, using our link in the video description below. Full details on how this amazing deal works at the end of the video. That's much better. With the entire pile of things off the desk, we can see each other. Today, we've got discounts on some brand new items, including Zen 4, plus RAM, motherboards, monitors, storage, and so much more. Our primary source for today's deals is Newegg. However, other stores have matched their prices. Our links in the video description are new. They will take you to our own dedicated store selection page, and from there, you can pick from Amazon, Newegg, B&H, Best Buy, and more. If one store is sold out, check another one. If you click on the Amazon link and you are outside the United States, it is designed to detect your country and redirect you to your local Amazon site. There are now 22 different Amazon stores around the world, so for our Amazon fans who are outside the United States who have been wanting regional links, there you go. Thank you so much for your support. Our first deal today is the Ryzen 9 7950X, the 16-core 32-thread beast from AMD. Launched less than 2 months ago, this is the brand new Zen 4 CPU that installs on AM5. Launched for $700, available for $555 with the promotion code that is on the Newegg page. Other stores have matched the non-promo code price, making it $575, so if for whatever reason you prefer to buy from Amazon or one of the other sites, you certainly can do so. It'll just be $20 more. But Newegg, at least as of the time of filming, has the least expensive price. This is an absolute beast of a CPU. If you plan on going big and you plan on building a high-end premium machine, it's really hard to go wrong with this. You will see a build guide with this soon using my new home personal gaming PC. Longtime fans of the channel will know that I have an i9 9900K at home for my personal PC. For a long time, I kind of thought I was going to put a Ryzen 9 5950X at home, but alas, I didn't, for various reasons. But I just finished building, and yes, it is built and it is done. The video is just not filmed yet. A very premium 7950X build, and oh boy, is it fast. If you've got the money, this is your deal. Our next deal is an offshoot of the first deal, the Ryzen 9 7900X, the 12-core version. It is $95 less at $460 with promo code at Newegg, slightly higher on Amazon and others. Is it worth saving $95 to go to the 12-core CPU? No. If you're going to spend $460, spend $555. The extra 4 cores and 8 threads are absolutely worth it. This is here simply for completeness. Our third deal continues down the Zen 4 line, $340 for a Ryzen 7 7700X. Now, this is an interesting CPU because at launch, I said, the 7700X doesn't make a lot of sense at $400. $150 more gets you a 7900X. That makes more sense for a premium build. DDR5's expensive. Motherboards are expensive. Well, a funny thing happened. DDR5 prices started to come down. They're not super cheap yet, but they have started to come down. Motherboard prices have started to come down. The B650 motherboards have launched. You can now get a motherboard for under $200 that is at least worth using on a mid-range CPU. If you are planning to upgrade to 3D chips to Zen 5, and maybe you just want something a bit better to last you for a year or two until you're ready to make that next AM5 upgrade, this might be worth considering. At $340, it is more than $200 less than the Ryzen 9 7950X. And I understand that $200 is a decent amount of money. 16 cores is better than 8 cores, But for a lot of people, this will still be an absolute beast of a CPU. It is faster than older CPUs, and frankly, if you've even got a Ryzen 9 3900X Zen 2, for example, this would be superior in basically every respect. Our fourth deal rounds out the Zen 4 chips, and man, talk about some Black Friday deals. $240 for the Ryzen 5 7600X. I gave this CPU a pretty hard time at launch. I said 6 cores for $300 in 2022? AMD, what's wrong with you? Well, at $240, I soften a bit. I wish it was $200, but I wish it was free as well, so what do you want? At $240, for somebody just trying to step into AM5, maybe you've got a Ryzen 5 2600X. You could drop a 5600X on there, a 5700X, but maybe you're like, I don't want to stay on my dead platform. I don't like my motherboard. I don't like my setup. I want to build a new machine, but money is tight. Next year, I'll be able to upgrade to one of the 3D chips with the Vcache. I'll upgrade to Zen 5. I just need to get into a new system, and I want to get into AM5. Okay, it may only be 6 cores, but they are massively fast cores. And if you're playing anything other than the latest games or multitasking, it's enough for basically everything, at least at the moment. $240, $170 to $180 motherboard, 32 gigabytes of slower speed, less expensive DDR5 RAM gets you into the platform and gets you going. I didn't like it at $300, but I am warming up to it at $240. Continuing right along with the AMD CPU deal train, we have the previous generation CPU, Zen 3, specifically the Ryzen 9 5950X, 16 cores, 32 thread, the very top of the line of the AM4 platform. This is primarily for people who already have an AM4 board. Zen 4 is great, and if you have something like an FX 8300 or an i5 8400 or 6400 or something old, you might just want to consider going ahead and going to the new platform so you have a future in front of you. But if you have a Ryzen 7 2700X, 3700X, even a 3900X, maybe you even have a Zen 3 chip, but you've got a Ryzen 5 5600X and you're discovering that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in multiplayer stutters, and you want something better. This is a drop-in upgrade. Any of the AM4 boards in general with a BIOS upgrade will take this. And while it is $480, which honestly makes it kind of expensive, $555 gets you the 7950X on Zen 4. And if you're making a new platform, just go Zen 4 at this point. Even with the higher board and RAM prices, go with Zen 4. But for a drop-in upgrade, 5 minutes, BIOS update, this may very well last you through the AM5 platform, and maybe you could just keep this until AM6, saving you an entire upgrade path until the new generation comes out sometime in 2026, maybe 2027. One more AMD CPU deal, then I promise we'll get to some other stuff. The Ryzen 7 5700X, $200. 8 cores, 16 threads of all Zen 3 goodness. This is a great deal for $200. Do you have a Ryzen 5 1600, a Ryzen 5 2600X? Do you have a Ryzen 3 2200G? Okay, make sure you have a graphics card because that's integrated graphics. But this is a drop-in upgrade that will wow you. If you replace a Ryzen 5 1600 with this, just booting up into Windows, opening Chrome tabs, browsing the internet, running updates, launching your game, updating your games, much less playing your games, all of those should bring a smile to your face. It should be noticeable without any benchmarks required. For $200, you can buy yourself several more years of life to your machine, and you don't need a motherboard upgrade, you don't need to reinstall Windows, you don't have to build a new machine. AM4 is awesome, and this is a really good deal. Moving on to some RAM deals. Yes, I know you see AMD CPUs, bear with me. 32 gigabytes of DDR5 6000. This is ideal RAM for any of the new Zen 4 CPUs. DDR5 6000 is the maximum speed that gives you a 1-to-1 Infinity Fabric ratio on the onboard bus. Essentially, if you go under 6000, it'll run 1-to-1, you just won't get full speed. If you go over 6000 to say 6400, then it puts a divider into the Infinity Fabric on the CPUs, causing additional interchip latencies. For $187, this is G-Skill Trident Z RGB RAM. This is good RAM. It will run very quick and should be drop-in to any Zen 4-based system on an AM5 motherboard. Now, you can also use this RAM on Intel. It'll work absolutely just fine at DDR5 6000. Just turn on XMP. It'll be perfectly happy. But we're talking about Zen 4 today, so there you go. An alternative, if you want more RAM than 32, but you don't want to spend a fortune, how does 64 gigabytes of DDR5 5200 sound for $250? Now, this is not going to be as fast as the 6000 RAM. If you're gaming, it'll be a little bit slower, especially if you have a super premium graphics card. But it is not much more expensive, and it is double the capacity. If you're building a Ryzen 9 7950X machine and content creation, virtual machines, productivity applications are on your list, maybe you want 128 gigs of RAM. Well, the only way to do that is to buy two 64 gig kits and put them in together. This will certainly give you that ability. For $250, you get a lot of RAM that's only a little bit slower than the Trident Z I talked about before. DDR5 is great and all, but many of you are on existing AM4 or Intel platforms that use DDR4 and you need a RAM upgrade. How does 32 gigabytes of DDR4 3600 sound for $80? How does 64 gigabytes of DDR4 3600 for $155 sound? Both of those are reasonable options for any existing platform that takes DDR4. Maybe you've got a Ryzen 5 2600X and you're going to upgrade it to one of these new CPUs. Maybe your current system has 16 gigabytes of 2666 or 16 gigabytes of 3200 and you want some more RAM. For $80, not only can you get new RAM, you can get faster RAM and more of it. Or for $155, you could get all the RAM you could probably ever need. The 32 gigabyte kit makes the most sense for the Ryzen 7. The 64 gigabyte kit makes the most sense for the Ryzen 9. Motherboards are always an interesting thing to talk about when it comes to deals because they're so personal. There are hundreds of different motherboards on various chipsets that you can use to build a system. I could never begin to cover them all. This particular board is a really good deal because of the price and features that it includes. And either you want to replace an existing AM4 board because you already have a CPU, but your motherboard kind of sucks, or maybe for whatever reason you've decided you don't want to move to Zen 4, you don't want to move to the new Raptor Lakes, but you need a new motherboard. Maybe you're going to buy that Ryzen 9 5950X and a new motherboard at the same time. Honestly, go with Zen 4. It makes more sense. But for $230, this is kind of like the king of X570 motherboards. It's the refresh chip. It's the S model, X570S. There's no chipset fan, so it's silent. 4 M.2 slots. Very, very few X570 motherboards have 4 M.2 slots. This thing has every feature and the kitchen sink. It's got 2.5 gig networking. It's got RGB. It's got a very, very good integrated audio solution with an ESS Saber DAC, in addition to the Realtek audio stuff that all the motherboards come with. More USB ports than you can shake a stick at, 16-phase digital power delivery. It's really a nice motherboard. It's just, if you don't already own an AM4 board, there's AM5. They just cost more. Need a new AM4 board but don't want to spend $230? I completely understand. This is a board that I have built a system in, the ASRock B550M Steel Legend, $110. This is not the least expensive motherboard you can buy for AM4. It's not even the least expensive ASRock board. There's some boards in the $80 to $90 price range. This is worth the extra cost of a pizza. This has better power delivery, dual M.2 slots, better cooling on the VRMs, more USB ports. This has USB 3.2 Gen 2 USB Type A and C ports, which a lot of the under $100 boards don't have. It's worth the extra $20 over the $90 boards. Maybe you've got a older system. Maybe you just need to replace your motherboard. Maybe you've got a Ryzen 5 3600 or 5600X, and you've got some El Cheapo B350 motherboard from 2017 that sucks, and maybe it's on its last legs. Yes, a motherboard change is a pain in the neck. Yes, maybe you should just build and upgrade a new system. Maybe you should go to AM4, but not everybody can. And I completely understand that. Money is a thing. And if you need a motherboard, I do highly recommend this board. Let's move on to some graphics card deals, shall we? For the past 2 years, graphics cards have been, shall we say, challenging to find. Finally, we've got some deals, starting with the MSI RTX 3060 12GB graphics card. Now, the one in front of me is not an MSI card. This is an ASUS. It's just the 3060 that we happen to own. However, 3060s do not use a lot of power, and so the two-fan MSI card here will be just fine. For those of you looking for NVIDIA features, NVENC encoding, CUDA support, you're looking for tensor cores, you're looking for DLSS, you're looking for ray tracing, and you're on a budget, well, the 3060 may very well have you covered. With 12 gigabytes of VRAM, you shouldn't have any VRAM issues for years to come. NVIDIA is nice and all, but if you want maximum performance for the least amount of money, you gotta come over to AMD. This is an MSI RX 6600 8GB card, and this is the actual card you see here that is in the deal. $190. We've benchmarked this, we've tested it, it runs cool and quiet. This will play anything at 1080p, and I do mean anything. Cyberpunk 2077? Okay, maybe not ultra ray tracing, but it will play that game just fine. It'll play most games at 1440. Maybe not Cyberpunk, but it will play. For under $200, the graphics card deals are back. Moving right along with AMD graphics card deals, if you have a little bit more money to spend than $190, say $260, then you want to take a look at the Gigabyte RX 6650 XT 8GB card. It's similar to this. This is the closest I have to put on the desk. The 6650 XT is simply a refreshed 6600, a little bit faster. It is a decent performance jump over the 6600 non-XT card. Better at 1440p, and of course for high refresh rate 1080p monitors, better even still. 8 gigabytes of VRAM, but for a lot of people in the mid-range, that's still going to be okay. And it is a much better deal in terms of dollar cost per frame per second than what NVIDIA offers at this level. Reversing course back to NVIDIA, if you're looking for better than the 3060 offers and you're willing to pay for it, then the 3060 Ti has got you covered. It is nearly as fast as the 3070 for less money. $400 even will get you an MSI two-fan Ventus card, not the EVGA you see here. This is the card that I happen to have, but it's fine. It's only a single power plug. It isn't going to pull too much. It'll work. 8 gigabytes of VRAM, $400. It is substantially more expensive than the $260 6650 XT, and maybe a little bit faster, but not $140 faster. What you're really paying for is DLSS, better ray tracing, NVENC encoder support if you want to stream or record. You're paying for the CUDA support for non-gaming productivity performance. You're paying for the NVIDIA driver set. Some people prefer it, completely understandable. Pay a little bit more, get an NVIDIA card. Shifting gears back to the CPUs, you need something to keep them cool. How about a premium top-of-the-line Corsair 360mm liquid cooler? This is an iQOO H150i LCD for $220. Normally $300. That's a pretty solid discount. Now, the model you actually see on the desk here is the one without the LCD screen, because I don't own one. Essentially, this is what it looks like. There is an actual LCD screen that is controllable from within Windows. You can display the CPU temperature or the fan speeds. You can display graphics and art on it. It simply goes on top of it and enhances the overall cooler. Same thing, just for the person who needs everything. The other benefit of paying the premium to go with Corsair, because I understand $220 is a lot of money, but you are getting a very nice LCD screen, is you are getting the Corsair Commander RGB controller and the software which integrates. So if you buy something like a Corsair case, you really want to buy a Corsair liquid cooler to go along with it. There are less expensive ones we'll talk about in a second, but if you kind of want to integrate and make it all look the same, you probably want to buy the same brands. It is also worth noting that if you're going to mix RGB fans in your system, you are better off buying the RGB fans from the same place because not everybody makes their RGBs the same way. Liquid crystal displays on your liquid cooler's pump head are cool and all, but $220 is a lot of money. How would you like a 360mm ARGB liquid cooler for $65? This is an Enermax. It is a brand that honestly I have not personally used, so I can't say anything in terms of personal experience. On the other hand, it has a bunch of 5-star reviews on both Amazon and Newegg, so there's that. Another point to consider is that if you simply want to buy 3 120mm ARGB fans, you can easily spend $40 or $50 doing so, depending upon what you buy. So $65 for both the 3 fans and the liquid cooler is a heck of a deal. You might want to consider giving it a try if you're building a mid-range system and you don't necessarily need the best of the best. If you do this, you also get the benefit of a lot of airflow in your system, regardless of whether it's truly the best 360mm liquid cooler on the market. 360mm liquid coolers are cool, but they're huge, and not everybody has a case that will hold one. Completely understandable. How about a 240mm RGB liquid cooler for $49? That's pretty sweet. I wouldn't put it on a Ryzen 9, I wouldn't put it on an i9, but if you've got a Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 7 or maybe an i5 or an i7 and you're not overclocking, a 240mm liquid cooler should be just fine. And $49 straight up. No rebates, no codes, no nonsense. That's pretty nice. There's a lot of tower coolers that cost more than that. So if you simply need something reasonable, check this deal out. Every computer needs storage, and our first storage deal today is a Western Digital MyBook 12TB external USB drive, $170. This is actually a really good deal because it is a MyBook. Now, there are other 12TB drives for a similar price point, but they tend to be either Seagates, which might or might not be SMR drives, or they are Western Digital Elements. The MyBook is the premium line of drives. It contains additional features and tends to contain better drives inside than the Element series, and my personal favorite feature, the ability to disable sleep mode. It's why I actually own one of these drives. On the Elements drives, when you plug them in and you don't use them for a certain period of time, they go to sleep. You open File Explorer, and then you have to sit there and wait while the drive spins back up. Download Western Digital's utility software from the website and you can disable sleep mode on the MyBooks, which means it's always there anytime you need it. A really, really nice feature that almost no external drives have for some reason. I mentioned SMR before, shingled magnetic recording. If you don't know what it is, you don't want it. These are not SMR drives. Do you need a Steam game drive? Is your Steam library or other game library overflowing and your SSDs in your computer have no more space? You can absolutely run games off an external USB hard drive. It's surprisingly quick. It's not as fast as an SSD, but you can't buy 12 terabytes of SSD space for $170. Hard drives are great and all, but there is nothing like solid-state storage. How about some premium storage? I have here two 2TB NVMe SSDs. See what I did there? From Samsung. The Samsung 980 Pro is a Gen 4 premium drive, 7 gigabytes per second, includes a heatsink, which is really nice because if you want to upgrade your PlayStation 5, it is a perfect fit. It's actually really designed for that installation. The Samsung 970 EVO Plus is the refresh of the 970 EVO. It is a Gen 3 drive, 3.5 gigabytes per second, still perfectly usable on modern systems. It's a little bit less expensive at $150. The short version is, if you have a modern system, the extra $30 for the Gen 4 is worth it, but there's nothing wrong with going with the Gen 3 if you want to save a few dollars. 2TB drives are great, and I highly recommend you go with one if you can afford it. Games and data are only getting larger, and a 1TB drive isn't what it used to be. Even for a boot drive, get a 2TB drive. Having said that, I understand not everybody has the same data needs and you might need something smaller. I actually recommend a TeamGroup Z440 1TB drive if you are on the budget end of things and you want to save some money. Yes, you can get a Samsung 980 Pro for $99, 1TB if you want to do that. But I think that if you're on that end of things, saving another $20 and going to a TeamGroup makes sense. Same performance. I own one. I have one on my personal gaming PC at home. So you're saving 20% and you are getting basically the same Gen 4 performance. It's a premium Gen 4 TLC SLC cache DRAM buffer drive. It really is a great drive. And for $82, why would you buy anything less? Quick side note, many of you may very well ask about the $59 1TB Gen 4 NVMe drives that are on sale. They're not in the deal video for a reason. Those are QLC DRAMless drives. If you hate your life and you want to have an awful experience, save the cost of a pizza and buy one of those. The reason I'm recommending the TeamGroup Z440 over the $59 drives is the extra $22 is worth every single penny. Your sanity will thank you. I said files and games were getting larger, and I meant it. Let's go the other direction to a pair of 4 terabyte drives. One is an NVMe Gen 4 drive, the other is a SATA drive. Now, SATA drives are perhaps going the way of the dodo bird because more and more M.2 slots are being installed on new motherboards. Some of the new generation motherboards have 5 M.2 slots on them. It is crazy. But many of you have existing PCs you want to upgrade and you're simply out of M.2 slots. So you need a SATA SSD. Let's start with that one first. The Crucial MX500 4 terabyte drive for $270. Let me say that again. 4 terabytes of premium TLC, SLC cached, DRAM buffered SATA from Crucial with a great SSD toolbox, $270. That is a good deal. Now, interestingly enough, Crucial also has a good deal on their P3 Plus 4 terabyte drive. It is a Gen 4 NVMe drive, $300. It is only $30 more, 10%, to go from SATA to Gen 4 NVMe. Why would anybody buy the P3 Plus? It's a QLC DRAM-less drive. Word of warning. If you need a secondary or tertiary drive in your system, perhaps you already have a couple of really nice Samsung 980 Pros in your system, and you simply want some extra storage for less played games, or you need a place to put your OneDrive, G Drive, Dropbox, etc., but you don't want to put them onto a hard drive, $300 for 4 terabytes of SSD, especially with being Gen 4 going onto an M.2 slot, is really nice. Do not use a P3 Plus for your boot drive, and I honestly wouldn't use it as my primary game drive because when you run game updates, all the random writes because of the patches is going to be quite slow. But it's a really good read speed. There's that to consider. A computer does not do you much good unless you have a monitor to look at. Well, maybe you can just use the Force. But the rest of us will have to have a monitor. How about a 32-inch 1440p 170 hertz IPS SuperSpeed for $330? That's a lot to unpack. 32-inch is a large monitor. Not everybody wants a 32-inch, understandable. I'll get to a 27 in just a minute. 32-inch, that is a nice big monitor that'll fill your vision, that'll give you easy to see everything, quite frankly. 1440p is a nice interim resolution between 1080p and 4K. IPS, or in-plane switching, gives you great colors, great viewing angle, great color accuracy, and frankly, just a more pleasant experience than VAs and TNs. 170 hertz refresh rate. That's pretty fast. You have to go pretty premium before that's not fast enough. And then super speed. This is a 0.8 millisecond response time monitor. Essentially, super speed is a new variant of IPS that improves the response time of the panel. Older IPS screens had a 4 to 6 millisecond response time, which is why many gamers did not like them. Now you don't have to compromise. You like to play first-person shooters? You want something faster and responsive? You can have both the great color accuracy of IPS and the great responsiveness of VA panels all baked into one. That's pretty cool. 94% DCI P3 color accuracy, HDR ready, FreeSync premium support included, both DisplayPort and dual HDMI 2.0 ports, a USB hub, a USB Type-C connector, and a keyboard, video, and mouse switch built in. Yes, that's right. You can actually hook this monitor up to 2 different systems, a desktop and a laptop, for example, and easily switch between them. That's pretty cool. 32-inch monitors are awesome, but I understand not all of you want a super large monitor. 27-inch, 1440p, 144 hertz IPS 1 millisecond response time display. That's pretty sweet. FreeSync is included, HDR is included, 92% DCI P3. It's got most of the features of the 32-inch screen, just in a smaller form factor. 27-inch, 32-inch, those are nice, but they're all 16:9 panels. Next, we have a 34-inch ultra-wide 21:9 aspect ratio Samsung Odyssey G5 1440p, 165 hertz, 1 millisecond response time, FreeSync premium, and all the rest. $400. Now, $400 is more than the last 2 monitors, but it's a Samsung, it's an Odyssey, it's an ultra-wide. It really is a nice panel. If you want to take your gaming to the next level and you're playing anything made in the last 5 years or so, which is going to have ultra-wide support, if you go back further than that, you start to lose that. There is something to be said for having your peripheral vision filled up. It's 50% wider than a standard 27-inch monitor. So if you've never actually seen a 34-inch in person, but you've seen a 27-inch, the height is the same. It's simply 50% wider. It adds 25% to each side, filling your peripheral vision. It's 5 million pixels instead of 3.6. So it is a little bit harder for your graphics card to drive, and so you're going to want to be one level up higher on your graphics card in order to get the same frame rates you would on a normal 1440p. I personally have a 34-inch 1440p ultra-wide at home, as does my wife Rogue, and frankly, I don't want to go back because it's really, really cool, especially in cinematic games or shooters where you can see more in your peripheral vision. I've used a lot of laptops. I've got 4 here, I've got 1 here, and we've had others that we've covered in the past that I no longer have because, well, I can't keep everything. Many times in previous years, we've covered gaming laptops around Black Friday, and typically the Acer Predator Helios 300, which is what this is, has been the deal, but not this year. This year, this Gigabyte A5K1 gaming laptop for $730 is by far the value for the money. This has a Ryzen 5 5600H CPU in it, 6 cores, 12 threads. Remember, it's a laptop. You're not having 3 monitors and doing tons of multitasking. 6 Zen 3 cores for most types of things you do with a $730 laptop is just fine. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD, a 15.6-inch 1080p 144 Hz IPS display is included, RTX 3060 6 gigabyte graphics card. Now the 6 gigabytes, well, for 1080p, it's okay. It's not great, but what's really nice about this laptop is with the 30 series, you have to be very careful because not all of them have the same TDP on the graphics chip. This laptop has a 130 watt graphics chip, which is really good. That's better than some of the TDPs on the 3070s and 3080s that I've seen on other laptops, so that's pretty sweet. This laptop also is surrounded by a lot of other premium components, 2.5 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6. It has an excellent sound chip on board and 2 video outports. It has both DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI, and get this, it will do video over USB-C. So if you want to get one of those 15.6-inch portable displays that power over USB-C, you can get a second screen, plug it in, no power adapter required. It's a really nice machine for $730. That last laptop is a deal for $730. However, sometimes if you're willing to spend just a little bit more money, you get a lot more computer. $500 more, or $1,250 total, will get you a Gigabyte AERO 5 Xe4. Sounds fancy. It upgrades the CPU from a Ryzen 5 5600H 6-core 12-thread to an i7 12700H. 14 cores, 20 threads. I kid you not, it is more than double the cores. 16 gigabytes of RAM. You do get an upgrade to a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, which is really nice. And the graphics card goes from a 3060 to a 3070 Ti, also at 130 watt TDP. That is a big, big graphics card upgrade. The single biggest upgrade, however, is the screen. The $730 laptop has a 15.6-inch 1080p 144 Hz IPS display. Great for just gaming. But if you want to do any content creation, productivity, or work when you're traveling, how about a 4K Samsung AMOLED screen? Yeah, on a $1,250 laptop. That is incredible. And I think this is the least expensive laptop that I've seen that has a Samsung OLED screen. The rest of the features, exactly what you'd expect. Great connectivity, great video outports, great USB ports, etc. If you've got the extra $500 and you want something premium, definitely consider going that route. You do give up the 144 Hz screen, and if all you care about is gaming, maybe you buy the less expensive laptop. But if you're concerned about the graphics performance of a 3070 Ti, keep in mind, render resolution is a thing. You can always set games to 75% or even 50% render resolution. 50% of 4K is 1080p. So you can get the same thing and still have the great display for use in Windows. Just be sure to set your DPI scaling to 200%. Some of you may have seen this extra laptop I just added. This is actually a 4K laptop that we reviewed all the way back in 2016. This is a Dell i7 6700HQ. It's hopelessly obsolete in terms of the CPU and graphics chip. It has a GTX 960M mobile chip in it, but it does have a 4K IPS screen, and you really can tell the difference. I know a lot of people say, what do you need 4K for on a small screen? But when you're sitting close to your laptop and you've got a lot of text on the screen, you open Excel or Word or doing a lot of other things, 4K beats the heck out of 1080p. Enthusiast gaming PCs are nice. Fancy monitors, fancy graphics cards, or even gaming laptops. But how would you like to be able to play games anywhere, anytime, no computer required? The Meta Quest 2 virtual reality system will do it for just $350. What's the Meta Quest 2, you ask? It's an Oculus Quest 2 renamed to Meta, because everything has to be Meta these days. Regardless, $350 gets you 128 gigabytes of built-in storage and an entire computer built into the headset. No PC is required. This works completely untethered. 2 free games are included, Resident Evil 4 and Beat Saber. And let's be honest, VR was built for games like Beat Saber. That's pretty nice that those are included. Now, you can tether the Meta Quest 2 to your PC. We own one at home and our kids play with it. If you have any VR games on, say, Steam, you can absolutely play those on your Meta Quest 2. But you can also play games independently of your computer. Take it upstairs, take it outside, with certain conditions, and because it needs something to reflect the sensors off of. But in a lot of cases, you can take it virtually anywhere and play VR games untethered from cables or power, because it does have a battery built in, or a PC. $350 and dual purpose. That's pretty neat. VR is cool and all, but it's not for everybody. How about an Xbox Series S for $240? That is a $60 discount off the launch price, and they're in stock and you can actually buy them today. This is by far the best deal on a 1440p gaming anything you will ever find. No PC you're going to build for even twice this price, 3 times this price, is going to be able to play games the way an Xbox Series S is. To be fair, PCs do more than play games. But if you want to play games and your PC's not cutting it, $240 has got you covered. $10 a month gets you the Xbox Game Pass for the console. $15 if you want to add the PC to it as well. There are over 500 games that you can play for just a $10 a month subscription. So $240 for the console, $10 to sign up for the first month, and you've got an instant 500 game library. What else do you need? Anybody on a budget? This really is the deal of the year. Looking for a Windows 10 or 11 product key, but you don't want to spend $100 to $200 for it? Our sponsor, URCD Keys, provides discounted Windows keys at amazing prices. $15 for Windows 10 Professional, $21 for Windows 11 Professional, and just $60 for Microsoft Office 2021 Professional Plus. These product keys are the real deal. They activate directly with Microsoft Online, link to your Microsoft account, and they work forever. For Windows, you simply go to Settings, Update and Security, Activation, click Change Product Key, paste the key provided by URCD Keys, and in seconds, you're activated with Microsoft. For Office, go to setup.office.com, sign in with your Microsoft account, paste the product key provided by URCD Keys, and then download Office 2021 Pro Plus directly from Microsoft. Remember to use the discount code TD20 to save 25% off the already deeply discounted prices and support our channel at the same time. We have been using product keys from URCD Keys for almost 5 years now without any issues, and encourage you to do so as well. Thank you all so much for watching to the very end of this video. 2 gold stars for all of you still here. Like, comment, subscribe, and do all of those YouTube things. Links in the video description below to all of these deals. As I said at the beginning of the video, these are new landing page links that will take you to a page that has up to 6 different stores to pick from. You can click Amazon, Newegg, Best Buy, etc. If you click on the Amazon link, it will actually take you to a localized page. It detects what country you're in, and so if you're in Germany, for example, it will auto-redirect you to the German website. That is a new feature that we just started this week. Let me know in the comment section below how that works for you. If you want even more awesome deals, be sure to follow me on Twitter down in the link in the video description below. I'll be posting more deals throughout the week. We may do one more deal video depending upon how much is there for the rest of the week, and then one on Friday for Black Friday itself. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. I will see all of you next time. But one of the reasons they use those discount codes is because they generally tend not to price match the discounted code price. Let's move. NVIDIA is great and all, but if you want maximum performance for the least amount of money, you gotta come over to AMD. This is an MSI RTX 2732. Those are all nice. How about brain. Overclocked brain. I need 14 cores.